Last night I spent most of the evening working through this portion of the build, which was the upper skin for the left wing. It was a little bit difficult because there's some extra material on the wing to allow for more precise cutting when it gets mated to the center section. And in this case, I had to do some extra work last night to get all the lines and the holes to match up, but I was able to do that and put it on the ribs and the wing last night. And you can see some of the black lines there that were all drawn. Then this morning when I came in, I was working with Brian, came in and suggested that I use a method they use, which is to go from the back side, which I'll do a quick little snippet on that. And so that involves starting on rib number 3 and rib number 4 and working my way from the bottom to the top. But essentially on the rib, that bottom line, finding center of the spar mounting plate and the rib. That way that rivet will be exactly dead center. And ultimately that just helps you line up exactly where your spars are and your ribs so that you get it exactly perfect. The nice thing is I'm pleasantly happy that my lines and my marks have lined up pretty much exactly where they needed to. So most of them were within about a 16th to a 32nd of being right where they needed to be. So the lines have been a really good tool today to get working on. And then doing the same across the full bottom. So I did the same thing on rib number 2 and then rib number 1. Sorry. Rib number 4 was a little difficult because the bell crank was there, so I actually had to do that one from the front side, but I was able to do the rest of the ribs. So rib number 5, 6, and 7 were all done. And once that hole was drilled, we moved around to the front, and then starting from rib number 3, worked my way out with a straight edge, marked the 2 holes, and then drew a straight edge line between those rivets, the rivet holes, and that gave me the exact line between the 2. And then I used the distance marking that was designated in the book, which was typically 1.5 inches between rivets, and that matched up with what I already had measured, and so was able to drill those holes from the front side and cleco it in place, and worked along the entire bottom all the way from the number 3 out to the right, and then from the number 3 all the way to the left on the inboard, and that made sure the skin was laid tight all the way across. And then worked my way up and did the stringer, and did the exact same technique. So did all the drilled all the holes in the back and through the skin, used a straight edge and drew a line from the hole on the bottom to the hole on top, and then worked on the number 3 and the number 4 from bottom to top, or from leading edge towards the back of the wing, and that made sure the skin laid down tight on the ribs. And then did the same thing, working to the right, to the outboard, and to the left on the inboard. And once all of those were up to the spar, then worked from the inside out, and then left and right again to make sure the skin laid is nice and tight all the way down on the front. This is the seam of the leading edge sheet metal with the skin for the wing. Notice that it's nice and tight with very little gap. The wing skin is a little bit lower than the leading edge skin because there's no glue. So once I put the glue on there and then rivet it in place, it should sit completely flush all along that edge in depth as well as all the way across. So pretty happy with the way that turned out, nice and tight. The rivet pattern, the whole pattern you'll see is offset, so pretty much it's halfway between where each of the ribs, or where each of the rivets for the leading edge on the D-spar are. The rivet holes are offset by about half, so that it's alternating across the leading edge and the wing skin. As part of the skin process, Brian let me borrow his air drill, which is a 45 with a small number 40 drill bit. The nice thing about that is it allows me to get in some tight spots on the back side of the skins, but definitely very useful and a lot better than the electric cordless drill. So